Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today, na number 19 day for this month for May 2022. Na me, Capo Daniel, the Deputy Defense Chief of the Ambazonian Governing Council, aka Sense Pass King, una own countryman.
Motion of support. Now we are suffocated and suffocated them from Boko. We are don't decide say we are got the right motion of support for Paulo from Angola, make it go back for presidency from Boko. We admitted them for May 2017. We don't decide say na independence des Ambazonie is the way for we. We don't think this we can let you give on wrong. We want Boko. I say Ambazonia, it don't bring Chris economy from Boko. We set for presidency de la République.
Background song na from Song Bulu. Una dey listen na for our daily podcast, a program where they bring meaningful information, fact-based analysis for help we navigate this journey to our freedom, the independence of Ambazonia. Good people of Ambazonia, citizens of Ambazonia, 20th May, not just one day from today, a day of calamity, a day of shame, a day of the greatest fraud, when the people of Ambazonia were fully engraved in a colonial system that was imposed on them by presidential decree from Paul Biya Bivondo, head of state of French Cameroon. As we approach this day, our people are very conscious, and we have called them to observe a lockdown, a ghost town, on the 20th of May, so that we can continue to demonstrate our rejection of the Cameroon subjugation of our state and Cameroon presence and rule over Ambazonia. On the ground in Ambazonia, the spirit of Ambazonia is alive and the consciousness is alive. From the KK to the BB, that means Kumba, Kumbo to Boya. Bamenda, the consciousness is alive. Our people are in lockdown, despite the fact that reasons would have called them to be able to act in unison, so that the focus remained the rejection of this day of fraud, a rejection of La République du Cameroon Union, whether by conning or by bribery or by force or ego. Ambazonian will never lose an opportunity to miss an opportunity to focus the message of our people, the one of a rejection of the 20th May. Instead, it is an issue of lockdown was declared one day, another group 5 days is a question of confusion. Nevertheless, we can also see this as an indication that our people are desperate to demonstrate against the Cameroon Union. In Bamenda, the streets are quiet. In Mutengene, nobody is out, as the fever of rejection of the one Cameroon is well and alive. Our people are reminded of the importance of not legitimizing this cursed day that have brought our people so much pain and hurt and death and destruction, and stay away from participating or enabling the state of Cameroon to perform any stage celebration of this day that our people have collectively rejected. Stay out of any Cameroon organized events for this 20th May in Ambazonia. Doing so will be a provocation and an insult to the Ambazonian people that will not happen without consequences. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, the leader of our War of Liberation, have declared that 20th May have been defeated. Our collective resistance have rejected this day and defeated its purpose. Cameroon can be seen through its celebration and lack thereof in Ambazonia as a country that is subjugating another one. Even in La République, the spirit of 20th May is dead. You cannot celebrate a union that does not exist, which one of its partner have divorced and is staying away from it. Married no be force. As them they talk, na man, it kill man. This one, it be reference to a lot of bitterness, hatred, deep-seated ego, and peacock syndrome who they see in plain daylight within Ambazonian liberation struggle. This one, na a reference to people like Seseko Ebini, one of the respected people of his own time that have kept the momentum and stood up to campaign actively for the liberation of our people, but have turned his back and is bitter and is tarnishing the image of Ambazonia. We'll get to that very soon. But first, echoes from the international community and their word regarding Ambazonian resistance from Cameroon rule. Listen.
Speaking part of Cameroon is in deep trouble because there's a great deal of discrimination against those people by the majority who are French-speaking. They get
that one a voice for former Undersecretary of State for African Affairs, Herman Cohen. When I listen for one of the interview where he began for the war in the beginning of this liberation movement.
Of the wealth, or very little of the business investment and that sort of thing. So they are very angry. Secondly, when they voted under the United Nations to join the French-speaking Cameroon, they came in as a federal independent state, and they had their own legislator and their own chief of state, and they only shared the currency and the foreign policy and the defense. In 1972, the federal government had a referendum to unite, and of course this was illegal because this minority never wanted to be united totally with the rest of Cameroon, so they were just smothered and taken into Cameroon. They're very angry about it.
The top American official, he make them very clear about the 20th May, about the State of Union between the two countries. He clearly talks the referendum organized by the Republic of Cameroon for 1972, where it dissolved the federal system, where it dissolved the two separate states and create the United Cameroon, was illegal. And he make the case say it will be illegal because the people of the former British Southern Cameroons, now Ambazonia, never wanted to be part of the United Cameroon or to be unified completely with Cameroon. That means it is illegal because of the will of our people. It violated the will of our people who never wanted complete unity. They wanted to remain an independent state, according to what Herman Cohen said. He said they wanted to remain an independent state. They united to remain an independent state in a federation. So there is no doubt that the 20th May and the dissolving of the state of the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia was illegal. It was illegal in terms of law. It was illegal in terms of the violation of the will that has been established in the vote of the United Nations by the people of the former British Southern Cameroons, the Ambazonians. This false union, this illegal union, have brought untold damage and harm to our people that is well known to the international community. Listen to the representation by the United States of America in this United Nations Security Council a couple of years ago.
Security and humanitarian conditions in Cameroon's northwest and southwest regions have significantly deteriorated since the last UNOCA briefing to the Security Council in June. Violence continues to escalate, obstructing vital humanitarian aid delivery to over 430,000 IDPs and blocking health and education services to rural children. Mr. President, October was the most violent month on record in Cameroon in recent years, and judging from anecdotal reports, we fear that November will surpass October as the bloodiest month on record. We don't want to see that horrible trend continue again this month. The violence must stop now. Violence between government and Anglophone separatists has resulted in killings and abductions of civilians, including a U.S. missionary, who was killed on October 30th. Faced with mounting insecurity, tens of thousands of Cameroonians have fled to neighboring Nigeria, as we've heard, while hundreds of thousands have been internally displaced and need humanitarian assistance. The stakes in Cameroon are too high for this crisis to continue unaddressed, to detract from our mutual security objectives in the Lake Chad Basin. Mr. President, the United States calls for an immediate and broad-based reconciliatory dialogue without preconditions between the government of Cameroon and separatists in the northwest and southwest regions. We urge all sides to forswear violence, to restore peace, and to resolve their grievances through political dialogue.
That one, it been 2 years ago for the United Nations Security Council. They had warned the trend will continue. They have said that it is unacceptable and cannot allow to continue down this path. The United States had called for reconciliatory dialogue between both sides and end of violence. The Switzerland jumped in with the HD to initiate the reconciliatory dialogue or negotiation between both parties. Reconciliatory negotiations have been completely rejected by the major Ambazonian factions of the Ambazonian Governing Council and the IG of Seseko Ayoktabi. On the side of La République du Cameroon, it is a no-show, a no-go area. The United States have made it very clear. It cannot allow the trend to continue. After 2 years of failure by the HD of the Swiss cheese to push for reconciliatory dialogue or negotiation between Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon, increased pressure have been coming from the international community for ground root solution, a permanent-based solution that will accomplish justice before peace can return in the Gulf of Guinea. This will only happen when the root causes of this war is handled on a negotiation without precondition. The Ambazonian Governing Council leadership will not blink, will continue to battle and fight and resist La République du Cameroon and liberate our territory block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, until independence and total freedom and a permanent solution which can be attained only through the re-establishment of Ambazonian sovereignty is achieved. Like as we talk in the beginning of this program, man in man, naiko kill man in man. Christian Ebini, Seseko, go down the path for blackmail and bring down the image of the Ambazonian Governing Council and the ADF at a time when our population should focus the campaign and highlight the need for Cameroon government to show compassion to our detainee who are languishing in her prison, as we have arrested traitor and genocide enabler Regina Mundi. Christian Ebini have gone on air as many Ambazonian, as Reverend Fomki and Bishop Andrew in Bamenda have all taken the line of the enemy to try to seek to divert from what matters, the demand made by the Ambazonian Governing Council, while the international press, the local press, and major media outlets such as Mimimi4, CNA, and many other newspapers have focused to the truth of what is happening. The Ambazonian Governing Council have arrested Regina Mundi, try her, convict her, and have made their goal known. One and one only demand: prisoner exchange. Despite the international media coverage of this fact, despite the local media coverage, despite the numerous outing and announcement and publication by the Ambazonian Governing Council leadership, these individuals are bent on speaking for the enemy, being the devil's advocate, the wicked black man, to try to redefine this arrest as kidnapping. What is the definition of kidnapping? Kidnapping means the action to adopt somebody and hold them captive for the typical purpose of obtaining ransom. So when this individual, Seseko Ebini, Reverend Fomki, Bishop Nkal Andrew, and the town hall crew of the IG on SCBC decide to disregard all the evidence, all the publication, international press release to try to redefine this arrest as kidnapping, they are trying to speak for the enemy who are desperate to show the world that our forces are doing kidnapping for ransom, and by their actions are thereby working for the enemy, talking about the devil. Through Johnso, the spokesperson of Sako Ikome, have even gone further.
Hello, this is Barrister Frujon. So I have read the write-up by Kabela. I will tell him outrightly that he is 100% wrong. Madame Mundi was captured by ADF. ADF is a proxy military wing of La République du Cameroon. They are the ones who captured their own senator. It has nothing to do with the struggle. It has nothing to do with this interim government.
Talking about foolishness and wickedness and evil in the face of a genocidal war. Frujon saw Sarko's spokesperson have decided that the ADF arrest of Mrs. Mundi is a work done by La République, that ADF is working for La République. What a foolish thing to say. How will La République arrest his own? Why will the La République be struggling to show the war that the Ambazonian forces are demanding for prisoners to be released, which is what the ADF have been demanding? Why on earth will La République du Cameroon be insisting to highlight the plight of Mancho BBC, Pen Terence, even Seseko Ayuk Tabi, 70 years old Pafo Ngalafo? Why would La République du Cameroon destroy her image internationally? Why would La République give a good image, good intention for Ambazonian forces by calling for the release of prisoners, thereby giving legitimacy in the eyes of the international community like what the ADF is doing? For sure, the ADF is working for the Ambazonian people. The arrest of Mrs. Mundi, as labeled by John Bakoro, is the most significant event in our liberation movement. It has highlighted the plight of our political prisoners. It has defined the action and motivation of Ambazonian forces. They have indeed pushed our liberation forward in a positive and respectable and professional manner. The only people who are working for the interests of the Cameroon state are those who seek to redefine the action of our forces as that of kidnappers, primitive people who turn against their own. Ambazonian Governing Council will not blink and will continue vigorously, unapologetically, to carry out actions in line with best practices that enhance our people's plight and project positively the Ambazonian forces, the Ambazonian Defense Forces, and her sister forces that focus its energy to fight against Cameroon occupation and all her tools to impose and subjugate our people under Cameroon rule. Shame to the enablers of La République du Cameroon, those who work for Cameroon, either because of their ego, pride, wickedness, or those share jealousy. But as for us, we will not blink. We will stand up for the principles that will lead to our independence, effective practices. Nothing will stop us. Everything is on the table when it comes to the freedom of our people. We will put our flag first. We will put our nation first. We will act in accordance with the expectation of our people to attain one and only one goal, the independence of Ambazonia.
Ne peut pas accepter, il ne peut pas nous donner nos fêtes. Dans une oui, Angleterre de mouvement de décision. For we, Ambazonia. Manchoche, BBC. Journalist for Bamenda, he come up with the coffin. Like Banyan, the man we don't die for Manfere. Appear for commercial avenue for Bamenda. Il faut tuer toutes les Angleterres avant de prendre notre pays. We go back for 1961 constitution.
Capo Daniel, signing off.
Don't changer constitution. Don't man from Bangabi talk say constitution est déjà constituée. La bureau de Bangabi il est tourné par le Fongola si don't changer constitution. As we don't changer constitution from Boko. That means you don't moto. It is number. Pobia. You don't shit. It is smell. We suffer from Boko. Muna them way them don't take rengege and for foreign. As we politician for you. Nji Atana be talk say the voices in the bushes.